story begins in London, where CIA agent Bill Pope discreetly collects a duffel bag from a shop. Shortly after, he phones his wife Jill, who gently asks when he'll be coming home. Bill, however, is distracted. He senses he is being followed. To shake his pursuers, he hops onto a public bus, quickly slips off again, and then steals a motorcycle to vanish into the city streets. Meanwhile, at the CIA's London station, Quaker Wells, the head of operations, rushes into the surveillance room. His team has lost track of Bill, but eventually they pick him up again on camera, this time without the duffel bag. Realizing another tail is on him, Bill abandons the motorcycle, ducks into a train station, and slips into a cab. The tailing team immediately relays the cab's license number to their leader, the radical anarchist Xavier Heimdall, who begins tracking the taxi. Inside the cab, Bill borrows the driver's cell phone to contact the CIA. They instruct him to head for an extraction point at the docks. The driver punches the location into the GPS, not realizing that Xavier has hacked the phone and altered the route. Bill soon notices the deception, but by then Xavier's men are already in pursuit. They shoot the driver, blow out the tires, and force the car off the road.
This isn't a cement factory.
Bill scrambles free, returning fire until he runs out of bullets. Surrounded and trapped, he is taken prisoner. At the docks, a CIA team waits in vain, having seen no sign of Bill. The truth becomes clear only later. Bill has been captured. Confronted by Xavier, he is brutally tortured with an electrified prong as the anarchist demands the location of the Dutchman. Bill refuses to cooperate, and the torture intensifies. By the time the CIA pinpoints the correct location, they arrive too late. Bill Pope succumbs to his injuries despite their efforts to revive him. Not long after, CIA officers turn to Dr. Micah Franks, a researcher whose groundbreaking work explores transplanting the memories of the dead into the living. Franks is recruited immediately, with his equipment arranged to be flown in. All that remains is to find the right subject for his experiment. Franks already has someone in mind. At a penitentiary in West Virginia, agents are introduced to Jericho Stewart, a violent convict deemed criminally insane. Jericho lacks empathy or moral awareness due to severe frontal lobe damage from an old head injury. Chained by the neck to the ceiling of his cell, he resists when the CIA attempts to remove him, demanding to finish his meal first.
I haven't had my lunch.
Yeah, send in the lunch.
All right, enough of this.
You know, you fuckers. Yeah.
After a brief struggle, he is tranquilized and flown by helicopter to Dover Air Base. There he meets Dr. Franks and is transferred to a military aircraft bound for London. On board, Jericho is strapped to a bed. When he learns that surgery awaits, he grows hostile and must be sedated again. Franks questions him about his childhood head trauma, and Jericho bitterly recalls how his father hurled him through a car window upon discovering the boy was not his biological son. Franks, moved by the story, reassures him that he will take care of him. The television flickers with an interview. Xavier Heimdall, revealed as the CEO of Stoneharp Industries, is speaking to Piers Morgan. Branded a traitor by the Spanish government, Xavier defends himself by accusing world governments of corruption. He declares his intent to spark a global revolution, dismantling political systems he views as criminal organizations. The CIA, monitoring the broadcast, identifies Elsa Muller, a former German Special Forces operator, as one of Xavier's key allies. Soon, Jericho's plane touches down in London. He is rushed into a secret CIA facility where Pope's body is still being artificially sustained. Inside, Wells and his agents have successfully mapped Pope's neural pattern and prepare to duplicate it within Jericho. In the operating room, Jericho is restrained as the procedure begins. Surgeons drill into his skull, delivering fiber optic charges directly into his brain to implant Pope's memories. As the operation progresses, Jericho's vital signs crash, and he teeters on the edge of death. Franks pleads to halt the experiment, but Wells coldly orders the team to press on, indifferent to whether Jericho survives. Against all odds, Jericho stabilizes. When consciousness returns, he finds himself disoriented, restrained to a hospital bed. Franks urges patience. Jericho needs time to recover. Wells, however, is unwilling to wait. He demands answers immediately. Jericho finds himself bombarded with questions: who he really is, and where to find a hacker named Jan Stru, better known as the Dutchman. This man had designed a powerful wormhole program that could break through any digital security system. The project had been commissioned by Xavier, but the CIA wanted the Dutchman eliminated. Unlike them, Pope believed cooperation was more valuable, and before he was killed, he managed to hide the hacker in a safe house. Wells grows impatient, demanding Jericho tap into Pope's memories and reveal the Dutchman's location. Flickers of recollection surface, but Jericho insists he remembers nothing. Disgusted and feeling defeated, Wells tells Franks that his life's research has amounted to failure. He orders his men to dispose of Jericho, then returns to his control center to watch an old video. In it, the Dutchman pleads for asylum and $10 million in return for his creation. Meanwhile, the fugitive hacker grows restless. Tired of hiding, he slips out of the safe house and heads to a laundromat. Using the payphone, he calls Jill, Pope's widow, and asks for Pope. The devastating truth comes back. Pope is dead.
Hello.
Bill,
Old friend, Jan.
oh, please.
Who's
Strook.
She there?
my husband's dead?
At the same time, Jericho is being escorted away by CIA agents when Franks secretly pulls him aside. He slips Jericho a pill to ease his headaches and quietly tells him to take care of himself. Soon after, Jericho notices one of the agents in the van fiddling with a suspicious device. His instincts kick in. Using a loose piece of metal trim from the car door, Jericho stabs the driver in the neck. The vehicle careens out of control and smashes head-on into another car. The second agent dies instantly, but Jericho survives and manages to free himself. He rescues the innocent motorist caught in the wreck, drags him into the CIA van, and torches the damaged vehicle to throw off pursuers. Hungry and disoriented, Jericho wanders back into town. At a burger joint, he takes someone else's food and a drink straight from the fridge, brushing off the angry complaints. Outside, he confronts a group of men, demanding their van. They laugh him off and try to chase him away. Jericho responds with savage force, leaving them beaten on the pavement before stealing the vehicle.
Get a van.
What? I'm serious, taking our van. Stop ordering, mate. Off. What the fuck is that? Oh, my
Who is this guy?
Driving away, Jericho absent-mindedly hums along to the music playing in the van. Suddenly, a torrent of Pope's memories surges into his mind, crushing him with pain. Guided by the flood of thoughts, he speeds straight to Pope's home. Scaling the fence and using Pope's old security codes, he slips past the alarm system. Inside, he finds Jill asleep. He swiftly gags and ties her to the bed before creeping into young Emma's room. Surrounded by memories of family love he never truly experienced, Jericho hesitates. He spares the girl and retreats, shaken. His mind now unraveling under the weight of two identities, he stares into the bathroom mirror and sees Pope reflected back at him. Returning to Jill, he demands the hidden stash of cash that surfaced in his memories. Jill has no idea what he's talking about. Growing frustrated, Jericho begins pocketing valuables from the house. Jill seizes a chance to hit the silent alarm. Moments later, the phone rings. The CIA agent on the line demands a security code. Jericho, astonishingly, provides the correct one and shuts off the alert, even recognizing the agent's voice. Jill wriggles free of her restraints and rushes to Emma's room, locking them both inside. Jericho, however, chooses simply to leave. Elsewhere, Xavier confronts the Dutchman, enraged by his betrayal. He threatens the hacker's life. Shaken but defiant, the Dutchman records yet another video, declaring he will never hand his program to someone as reckless as Xavier. He offers instead to give the wormhole system to a more responsible power, while warning that the CIA intends to silence him. With time running out, he reaches out to the Russian SVR, promising a live demonstration of his creation within hours. Back in the U.S., Jill reports Jericho's invasion of her home. The news quickly filters through to Wells. Realizing that Frank's experiment has succeeded, that Pope's memories truly live on inside Jericho, he mobilizes to track him down at once. Jericho hauls a stash of stolen items into a pawn shop, trading them for quick cash. With money in his pocket, he heads to a cafe for coffee, but his short fuse snaps, and he ends up decking a stranger with a punch. The moment he steps outside, a searing headache ambushes him, Pope's memories flooding into his brain like shards of light. The only choice, he decides, is to follow where those memories lead. His search brings him to a library he recalls from Pope's life. He slips between towering shelves, zeroing in on the exact section where a bag of cash was supposed to have been hidden. But the hiding place is empty. Meanwhile, the CIA flags an intrusion into their system. Jericho, using Pope's old ID to log in. Wells, quick to see an opening, tracks the signal. The discovery, Jericho is closing in on Dr. Franks. Wells picks up the phone and warns the doctor. Franks barely registers the warning before Jericho confronts him face to face, restless and demanding more pills to dull the pounding inside his head. They agree to head to a pharmacy together. At the same time, Xavier locks onto Frank's location and hacks into the pharmacy's cameras, watching. Inside, Jericho admits something raw. Pope's memories are changing him. Words and emotions keep slipping out, feelings he has never experienced. Franks explains that what Jericho is experiencing is the start of genuine emotion, like a new layer of conscience. But Jericho recoils, insisting he doesn't want it. He wants to stay the same hardened man he has always been. The doctor insists on further tests, warning that in about 48 hours, the memories will fade. Jericho wants none of it. Hearing the deadline, he shifts his focus back to the missing cash, vowing to spend it before it disappears from his reach. Unbeknownst to him, the CIA is listening to every word through Frank's phone. As soon as Jericho leaves the pharmacy, agents swarm him. He's cuffed and shoved into the back of a car.
Elisa.
That's enough.
Remember everything, right? Next busted up ankle. You still owe Billy.
Watching from nearby, Elsa quietly follows the convoy. On the way to CIA custody, Wells presses Franks for insight into Jericho's psychology. Franks explains that Pope's patterns, routines, and desires are steering Jericho's behavior. In his view, playing along with these impulses may be the key to catching the Dutchman. Then comes urgent intel. The Dutchman is plotting an attack. Furious, Wells lashes out at Franks, accusing him of recklessly implanting memories into a psychopath. 3 hours before the Dutchman's deadline, Jericho is hauled in front of Wells. The deal is simple. Hand over the Dutchman, and in return, he'll get the bag of money. Jericho cools down when he hears it. Wells extends a hand, but instead of shaking, Jericho grabs him hard, warning that he had better keep his word. With Pope's recollections guiding him, Jericho leads Wells and a team of agents toward the target. At the same time, Xavier fabricates a red notice on the Dutchman, planting his image across international security systems. Airport cameras flag a match, and the alarms ripple outward. Wells gets the update and abruptly cancels the deal with Jericho. He orders him locked away, unmoved by Jericho's demand for the promised money. Wells and his team shift to the airport lead, while Jericho is bundled off toward a CIA safe house. But when Wells scans the suspect at the airport, he realizes, too late, it's not the Dutchman. Meanwhile, Xavier moves into position. He seizes control of a nearby bridge, forcing Jericho's transport to a halt, then signals Elsa. Within moments, gunmen strike the car. One agent is killed instantly. Amid the chaos, Jericho seizes his chance. He snatches a sidearm and opens fire, yet he's outnumbered. Thinking fast, he hijacks another vehicle, slams across the bridge, and plunges it into the water. The window shatters, tearing his leg as he struggles free, but he dives under the surface and slips away. The failure leaves Wells seething. Still, he turns his gaze to the Russians. Determined, he orders a lockdown on their embassy, hoping to cut them off from the wormhole technology entirely. With just 1 hour left before the Dutchman strikes, Elsa reconnects with Xavier. He's enraged. First the Dutchman vanished, now Jericho too. Back at home, Jill and Emma return to their quiet house, but Jill feels a wrongness in the air. She pulls a pistol from its hiding place and steps carefully into the basement. There, in the dim light, she finds Jericho, bloodied, tending to his wounds. Terrified, she demands to know why he knows their names. Jericho explains the unthinkable. Pope's memories were implanted in his mind. To prove it, he shows her the scar left behind. Doubt burns in her eyes until Jericho rattles off truths only she and Pope could know. He tells her the CIA is chasing shadows from inside his head. But he promises this much: he will patch himself up and leave them untouched. Even if he wanted otherwise, Pope's imprint wouldn't allow him to lay a hand on her family. The Dutchman's countdown reaches 0. When it does, he unleashes his wormhole program against a U.S. military submarine, hijacking its systems and forcing open its weapons controls. The crew scrambles to fight back, but their efforts are useless. The nuclear missile launches and breaks through the ocean's surface. Panic rises until the Dutchman interrupts his own game. With a flick of his code, the missile detonates harmlessly in midair, the nuclear payload never armed. Back at Pope's house, Jericho spots Emma stepping into the garden. Something inside him pushes him to follow. She asks about her father, trying to draw a thread of connection between this stranger and the man she misses. Jill, watching from the kitchen, rushes outside and pulls Emma away, unsettled by the sight. Emma protests. She likes Jericho. She wants him to stay for dinner. Jill lays down the law. He must leave. Jericho softens the moment by volunteering to cook the waffles, just like Pope once did, and then before long, he slips away again. Later that night, Emma coaxes Jericho to sit with her at the piano. At first, he resists, but finally joins her, clumsy fingers echoing the simple notes she teaches. Jill observes from a distance, quiet and tense, until she sends Emma off to bed. Left alone, Jill demands the truth. Jericho admits he doesn't truly know. He's been broken his entire life. Now Pope's memories are stirring parts of him that feel alien. Emotions, empathy, even tenderness. She presses for proof. Jericho shows her the small hand gesture Pope always used as a private reminder of his love. This shakes her. Then she asks about their wedding, and Pope's memories rush back in vivid detail. Jericho nearly crumbles, overcome as he recounts the moment. Through his lips, Pope tells Jill that he truly loves her. He turns to leave, but Jill stops him and offers her couch. Jericho, slipping into Pope's shadow, remembers the countless nights he too had been banished there. Elsewhere, Wells receives word of the missile event off Portugal's coast, frustration mounting with every report. The next morning, Jill finds Jericho in her living room and hands him a steaming cup of coffee. A small picture printed on the mug jolts his mind, an image tied to the university library where Jill works. With urgency, he demands her car keys and access to the library, assuring her she will be safe. He disappears before she can protest. Moments later, as Jill and Emma tidy up the kitchen, Elsa bursts in. Gun in hand, she presses the barrel to Jill's head, snarling for Jericho's location.
Did you lock the door now? Jericho.
Meanwhile, Jericho arrives at the university library. He slips into the rare books collection, sifting through the shelves until at last he finds it, the hidden bag of cash, wedged behind rows of forgotten volumes. But before he can leave, a figure waits. Xavier, lounging in plain sight. Jericho instantly recognizes him from Pope's memories, promising revenge. Before he can act, pain surges through him as Elsa drives electricity through his body. He collapses unconscious. At that same time, Wells learns that an FSB unit has slipped into the city. He suspects they are hunting the Dutchman and makes a plan to intercept. Mounting a chopper with his CIA squad, he descends into the fight. When Jericho eventually comes around, he finds himself hustled into a waiting vehicle. Inside, Xavier's men hold Jill and Emma captive. Xavier issues his command, "Take us to the Dutchman." Jericho gives him a direction, his mind ticking with Pope's memory maps. Meanwhile, Wells shadows the FSB team. They're moving in a truck through the city. He orders his agents not to engage, yet he needs them to lead him straight to their prize. The trail takes the FSB straight to Jill's place of work. The CIA quietly moves into position. Then Wells sees it on the feed. Xavier with Jericho, right there among the Russians. His patience snaps. He gives the order, take the FSB down and secure Jericho. The CIA collides with the FSB squad on a crowded street, triggering a ferocious firefight. Bullets carve through cars and glass while civilians scatter. Amid the chaos, Xavier keeps Jill and Emma close, warning he'll kill them both if Jericho doesn't comply. Thinking fast, Jericho swears to Xavier that the CIA doesn't have the Dutchman. Xavier hesitates, then orders Elsa to track the Dutchman while he slips away from the crossfire. From high above, the Dutchman himself is watching the shootout unfold from a window, eyes fixed on the outcome. Elsa and another gunman tail Jericho, thinking he's leading them straight to their target. Instead, he takes them into a laboratory. While they're distracted, Jericho hurls chemicals to the floor, sparking a violent explosion that tears through the room. He bolts through the smoke before they can catch him. Pushing deeper into the building, Jericho finds the Dutchman hiding in Jill's office. Jericho throws him the bag of cash, demanding he uphold his old promise to Pope. He wants the wormhole program activated, now. But before the Dutchman can respond, Elsa storms back into the room. She guns down the Dutchman and seizes the wormhole device, then shoots Jericho. Bleeding but not beaten, Jericho staggers up, smashes a potted plant into Elsa, and mercilessly batters her until she collapses lifeless on the floor. He grabs the wormhole program, limps outside, and hijacks a parked ambulance. Moments later, Wells arrives with his agents. They find Elsa and the Dutchman dead on the floor. A tip about the stolen ambulance quickly confirms it. Jericho now has the program. From behind the wheel, Jericho dials Xavier using Elsa's phone. His message is sharp. Elsa is dead, and he has the wormhole, but he wants a deal. Xavier refuses to yield. He threatens that, unless Jericho delivers the program, Jill and Emma will die. Wells' voice suddenly crackles from a helicopter above, radioing Jericho not to give up the wormhole under any circumstance. Jericho ignores him. Jill and Emma matter more, yet his memory is slipping. Already he struggles to hold their names as the implant begins to unravel. Franks insists the solution is to come back to him, where he can make the implant permanent, but Jericho shakes off the idea. He won't abandon Jill and Emma. Police lights swarm behind him. A fleet of cruisers tears down the highway in pursuit. Jericho forces a massive trailer sideways, causing a devastating pileup that blocks the entire road and buys him time. Closing in on Xavier's location, Jericho arms himself with a hatchet. He rams the ambulance into one of Xavier's escort vehicles, crushing a man inside. With brutal energy, he leaps from the van, charging the car holding Jill. He hacks one captive dead, guns down another, and clears the way with a storm of violence. One by one, Xavier's men fall until only Xavier remains.
Put it down. Down!
Clutching Emma with a pistol aimed at her head. He demands the wormhole. Jericho tosses him the flash drive, buying Emma the moment she needs to break free. Xavier fires. Bullets rip through Jericho, dropping him to his knees. Xavier races away, boards his private jet, and orders immediate takeoff. From above, Wells' helicopter arrives just in time to spot the jet on the move. The worst unfolds quickly. Xavier uses the wormhole to launch a missile at the runway. On the ground, Wells looks down at Jericho, furious, accusing him of dooming them all. But Jericho, broken and bleeding, reveals the twist. He had the Dutchman quietly rig the wormhole. Any first launch would target its own coordinates. In the sky, Xavier's missile deviates mid-flight. The warhead arcs around, strikes the jet, and obliterates it. Xavier and the wormhole program die in the fireball. Jericho, barely breathing, feels Pope's memories peeling away. Darkness closes in. Weeks later, against the odds, Jericho survives. But the cost is complete amnesia. Pope's mind and his own memories gone. Wells and Franks bring Jill and Emma to the recovery room, hoping to spark some fragment of the past. Emma hugs him tightly. For a moment, it seems like nothing has changed. Then instinctively, Jericho makes the small hand gesture Pope used to show his love. Jill's eyes widen, realizing some part of Pope is still alive inside him. And this is where the movie ends. Let us know in the comments how you like the explanation. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.